Thank you guys again for taking the time in order to join us. One thing I want to start off with this time is just letting everybody know that this is going to be a presentation that's going to be for everybody. So if you're a personal trainer, studio, part of a Y association, or even a franchise, there's going to be something in here for everybody. And so with that being said, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Today is our 6th webinar where we discuss strategies to face the coronavirus. And so here at Virtuagym, we started these off so that this way we can just try and bring together some internal resources as well as external resources to try and provide as much information and guidance as possible during this time. As I'm sure you've heard and have experienced, these are rapidly changing times, and so we're trying to just make sure that we're coming together on a regular basis to provide some updates as far as what's happening within the market, and then also discussing what other people are doing in order to run their business as well as engage with their members during this time. So the other thing that if you've been on webinars before, you might have heard me saying, we also host these in 5 different languages and markets. So if you have anybody who's interested in joining and would prefer to listen in Spanish, German, Dutch, or French, feel free to check out our Eventbrite page there in order to be able to have access to those. So with that being said, today, I want to take the time to introduce the speakers who we have. Maybe we can go left to right. So Becky, if you would do us the pleasure of kicking it off.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Becky Schubert. I am the Association Director of Marketing, and I oversee our app implementation and continuation on how we use it for our association. We have about 24 locations within the YMCA, Gateway Region YMCA.
Welcome, Becky.
Okay, my turn.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hey, yeah, I'm Sheldon McBee, and I am the personal training director at Universal Athletic Club. We are a gorgeous health club right in the heart of Amish country, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I oversee a department that I'm very proud of, wonderful training team. We do about last year we did about $1.5 million in personal training services in the one facility, the single site. We were on pace for 1.78 million this year. Of course, we pulled back because of what's going on now. I'm also the education director for World of Dance Fitness, and yeah, so it's my pleasure, my honor to be on with you guys today.
Thank you both for joining us today. And then from my end, from my side, I'm Kalen Pino. I'm the head of the U.S. market here for Virtuagym. And before we get started, just want to go ahead and do a couple of housekeeping things. First off, this recording is going to be sent out to all of the participants afterwards. So that'll be sent out and posted to our YouTube channel. So you will have it there as a resource. Additionally, you'll notice that at the top, there's a couple of different areas that you can go ahead and use in order to communicate with us. So if you have a question that you want to go ahead and direct to our team, so that'll be something that just the panelists are going to see. Go ahead and use that Q&A section. So that's where it'll be a bit private, and we'll be able to answer those to you directly. The other area that you're going to see as well is there should be a spot that allows you to do enable a chat as well, so that this way you can chat with everybody. So for me, that is up in the top corner. It's like these little 3 dots, and it says chat. I'm also able to enable it using Alt-H. So that's where you're able to go ahead and put any comments in that and communicate with other participants who are on the webinar as well. So feel free to put some hellos, also ask some questions there to other gyms, studio owners, Ys, and others who are on the panel today, just to chat and find out what other people are doing. So we love that piece because it makes it more of an open dialogue with everybody. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. So as far as today's agenda, what we are going to be covering is 1, hitting the poll results from last time, 2, jumping into Becky's story and how YMCA Gateway responded and what they're doing through COVID-19. Additionally, we're going to go into the same thing for Universal Athletic Club, and Sheldon will share a bit there. And lastly, we'll jump into more of a discussion format of what we're doing in order to engage with our members and community, not with fitness, but of course beyond that as well. So going into the poll results, if you guys were in the last one, you'll know that we sent off a couple of different questions to everybody. And so this is the result of everybody who participated last time. We had about 100 people who participated in the last webinar. And so this is the percentage of those people who joined. So the interesting thing that we found is that across everybody who participated, this was US, Canada, and some people from the UK as well. We asked them, do you have a digital service in place? And it was interesting to see that 89% of all of the respondents said that they do have a digital service that they make available to their members or personal training clients. The other one was we asked, during this time, are you still charging membership dues? And so it was interesting to see there as well that 65% of the respondents in the moment are in fact charging their membership dues at this time. And then the last one, which was very interesting to me, is we asked what is how many members are leaving and what does churn look like within the organization. And so the piece that was very interesting for me is we put it in we had three ways that you can respond to it. You can either say yes, I'm experiencing more churn, or no, I am not experiencing more or less churn. And then the last one was I'm actually doing better now. And for us, when we looked at that, it was really interesting to see that 32% of the respondents were experiencing normal or less churn during this time. So that piece was something that I thought was really interesting. Obviously, that's the positive way of looking at the data itself, because that means 68% of the respondents actually were experiencing churn during this time. But it was great to see that there were businesses who were not impacted or actually thriving in terms of keeping their members during this time. So I got some feedback last time from the participants who joined. I see here as well that there was a couple people who joined a little bit late. So I have this sheet here which is the panelists who are with us today. I only updated the first sheet, so this is essentially who we have. We have Becky, who is the Association Director of Marketing at YMCA Gateway. And also we're joined today by Sheldon, who is the Director of Personal Training at Universal Athletic Club. So they're joining us today and sharing their experience as well. Becky, maybe we can start with you, if that would be all right. And yeah, just can you share with us your experience as far as what was it like going into COVID, and how was your preparation leading up to and the response that you guys have had as an organization?
Sure. Well, we were in denial for a couple of days that this was actually happening. But when you realize the extent of it, you have to change what you're doing pretty quickly. As a nonprofit, we service a lot more than just those individuals coming to us looking to stay fit. And so we had to start pretty rapidly thinking about how are we going to stay connected with our seniors, those who come to us as cancer survivors through our Live Strong program and diabetes prevention, and the kids that we have in childcare. We service early childhood education, and we're coming into hopefully a busy season of summer with gearing up for summer camp and our overnight camps, and really had to start thinking, what are the strategies going to be for us to touch all those people still in this time. So we did decide not to draft anybody for April. We've made the decision again for May. We just think that social responsibility that we take serious, that we decided not to do that. And then we offered up the option for our members to opt in to stay with us and use their dues for good. So we had about of our 120,000 adults, that's probably not a fair, of about our 50,000 units, we had about 5,000 choose to stay with us and pay during this time. So we're pretty excited about that. And the reason why is because we are asking them to stay with us because we've started emergency childcare sites. So those essential workers who may not have a place to take their kids now because schools closed and daycares are closed and things of that nature, we are able to provide emergency childcare for them. We did pretty quickly adapt our website with some virtual options. We didn't really have virtual workouts yet, so we knew that was a path that we needed to connect and wanted to go down, but this just kind of sped it up. So which is kind of exciting for when we reopen. We're going to have this ready to go and people are going to stay with us that way. So we started making those accommodations to just bring resources to people. So we were working with our local partners of food banks and United Way and other nonprofits in our area of how do we continue to connect the services that people need that we used to be a channel for. How do we continue to bridge those? So we do wellness calls with our seniors where we talk through what do their days look like, and how do you have the necessities that you need to get through the social isolation. Can we get you things? Do you need food? Do you have, you know, the toilet paper, the paper, whatever you might need? Like what are your areas that we can help? And then we walk them through like a 10-minute fitness kind of piece so that they can stay active with us. We started having the teen population is difficult to connect sometimes, and so once we have them, we want to keep them engaged, and so we started doing Zoom calls with our teens so that they can still see one another and still kind of move forward. They're hosting their own TED Talks, which is kind of cool, so those are going to continue to come out. We have branches that are helping schools deliver meals to their populations that are underserved, or providing the meals in some cases if the schools can accommodate. So we had to break off into groups to make all of this a reality, because you know, no one department or one person can really manage this, and we serve across 2 state lines. So there's 4 different governmental bodies that we're listening to right now, and how we're going to be able to offer services into potentially when we reopen. So there's a lot that plays into it, and we're just trying to use the tools that we have available in the best way that we can, and hoping that we're doing a good job with it. So we're getting some pretty positive feedback from the members that have stayed with us, and the content that has been available to them. They've been pretty happy about it.
Wow, I mean, it sounds like you guys are doing a lot, and I think that's really great for the topic of today's webinar, which is about going not just engaging with fitness, but also going beyond fitness. Because at the end of the day, when we're talking about, you know, the community that we're trying to create with the members that we have, it's more than just fitness. It's about relationship that they have with your brand. One of the things that you mentioned at the start was that your organization actually decided to waive all membership fees. So you guys are actually in that 35% of people and organizations who are waiving the fees during this time. But it sounds like you guys are doing something a little bit different. I know you and I have had a chance to talk about it before we connected today. You guys are calling that Membership Matters, right?
Yeah, our website that we've kind of changed out is Your Membership Matters. It makes a difference, and here's why. And so when we give them the option to opt in with us to continue paying, we've really kind of hung on that call to action of use your dues for good. We still get, you know, we try to educate as many as we can of what the whys do, and it's more than just having a gym and a pool, and we really we're able to do so much still because we did so much before. There's a few pieces missing that we would love to have back and available, but yeah, we share, like this page shows, we just share what we're doing with the money that we have, how we're trying to continue to adapt and meet the needs. And we've really kind of taken the stance, we want to be transparent throughout this process. So, you know, if you're still with us and you're still paying, here's what your money is going towards, and we've been sending them regular updates to let them know. But we've also had to make some difficult decisions. We can't pay everybody the same way that we could, you know, 2 months ago when we're still paying. So we did have to make the decision to lay off about half of our full-time staff, and we obviously don't have any part-time staff working now. But one of the things that we've stayed committed to is still continuing to cover health benefits for those employees that are temporarily laid off, and we really want to bring them back. So as soon as we can open back up again, as that was one of the things to them too, to our member base as well, is we're asking you to use our Dues for Good. We know you love our staff, like you have connections with the people. That's why you continue coming. And this is just another way that you can help us support them in this time. So, and we haven't had, you know, some people, of course, you know, I'm not paying, I can't pay right now, I'm not paying right now. We understand that, but those that have stayed with us, we're just really excited about, more than what we were kind of expected. So close to 5,000 units. It's a pretty big deal for us.
Yeah. And then a question came through as well from one of the audience members who wanted to know, how are you currently offering digital services?
So we have our stuff right now available on our website, and we have them through the app. And it's kind of, we're looking at now, do we take our website down to a basic page where some content, because we consider that a community, that's us doing good for the community, and during this time, that's what we should be doing. But we still kind of want to maintain the member benefit there. And so we're looking at, do we take that page down a little bit, not offer quite as many virtual workouts through the open page, and then just send them into the app itself.
Okay. Yeah, I know that that you guys are currently doing virtual workouts and have a page dedicated to virtual workouts as well. I think
we do. Yeah, we started doing some of our own content, which we hadn't before. So we worked on it really hard for about 2 weeks, and we're just getting back into it now that we've kind of been able to think a little bit. But we have some great partners out there. We partner with Les Mills, and we have Matrix and the MOSAs in our area, and YMCA 360 has put out a lot of videos as well. So trying to utilize the partners that we have to really grow that, and we're continuing to grow it on our end. We've got some more live ones coming out this week that we're working to push out to our schedule.
Okay, and so when I went through the page itself, I saw that it was organized, you know, between a couple of different themes. And so I saw even that a couple of the Y instructors were even recording them from their own home. So one person that I saw even had her kids in the background who were participants within the class while she was giving the instructions. I thought that was super cute.
Yeah, we thought that, you know, you have the less, like, if you have the Les Mills quality or high quality professionally done image, you know, videos, and then we have what we know that we could do from our phones and in a very quick time on our computers. And so we really thought we were doing everything that we can to be vulnerable with our members right now. And look, you're stuck in your house as a member, we're stuck in our house as a staff person too. And so we did try to incorporate some workouts that included the kids. So we have some mommy and me ones where you're using your toddlers as your weights. And that was just something fun that people can, we're all in this together. We're all going through the same struggles, and my house looks like your house, and how do you space yourself out when you have a living room with furniture? I'm in mine too. This is what I do. So we felt like that was kind of important to do.
Okay. And are these just pre-recorded ones that you guys are hosting on YouTube, or did you guys also go the live route as well?
We did go the live route on YouTube for a few of them, and then a lot of them were pre-recorded. We had a limited amount of time to get some pre-recorded stuff done prior to our staff, some of our staff being temporarily released right now. So we pre-recorded a lot, and we have them scheduled out. So it might have been recorded at the end of March, but it doesn't hit our channel as a new video until today or next week or whenever we've scheduled it out. So that way it still seems like the members are getting, you know, fresh content. They not the same old videos that they got before.
Okay.
And we are starting this week to do more live and pre-recorded with some of our execs that we still have on hand.
Okay, so basically running it like a content library, and rather than uploading it all in one shoot, it's staged out, a couple videos at a time.
Right, and on that same channel, we include sports drills for kids, and here's some educational science experiments you can do at home through our community development, health education programs, things like that. So the channel has and so we're utilizing the video playlist. So if you want to see mind-body videos, click here, but if you want to see kids experiments, click here. So trying to organize that out a little different.
Very cool. And then let me go ahead and just take a look. Got another question that came through. This one's on the specifics of the platform that you're using. What system/product are you using for the live classes?
For the live classes, for the most part, the ones that we've had up as of today, all of them have been done in YouTube. And then we're starting this week to do more with Zoom. That way we can have people participating with us. So the live is obviously just an instructor, and then we had people commenting. But now with the Zoom, we'll be able to put that. And now with the new feature, that Virtuagym, which you guys just put into your schedules, where we can link out to different videos now, that really made Zoom a bigger possibility, since before it was just Vimeo and YouTube. So we're going to do more of the Zooms. That way the participants can see each other and see their instructor and interact a little more.
Okay. And so, yeah, that hits the fitness side of things. I also grabbed another piece from the site as well, which for me was really cool to see. The family resources that were there, and some of the things that I saw that were available was somebody from the staff who was reading a story, so the favorite children's book, so that this way the kids, I guess, could listen to the story while mom and dad work.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've done that a few times. I've tossed up my kids' school send me those. So we've done a couple of activities that you can do with your kids. Not everybody is just an adult stuck in their house. Like, they've got kids they've got to entertain, and some of us have to work while they're there. And so what kind of resources can we provide? So we kind of broke it up into the different areas that we serve. And we do a lot of swim lessons. Why we do a lot of swim lessons, but now we don't have a pool. So, but how do we keep our aquatics department engaged? And so they came up with some coloring sheets and some, like you see one of our lifeguards reading the story to the kids. We've done some how do you fit your life jacket properly? How do you get into a boat? Some different things that we can still prepare them. We take water safety very seriously, and we want every child to learn how to swim, but how do you prepare them for that when they can't get in the water with you? And so what are some things leading up that we can teach adults to be safe water watchers? And where do the kids know, is my grown-up watching me before I get in? And just kind of the things that you can do on land, so that whenever they're ready for the pool, hopefully they remember those pieces that they've learned. So we have sports drills on this page, and we link out to some resources shared of mindful meditation and different things like that.
Okay. And we always get a big range of different attendees who join the webinar, and so some are working at otherwise, others are in athletic clubs, but a big chunk as well are independent studio and gym owners. And if you were to give them a tip as well, because not all of these independent gym and studio owners may necessarily have the resources in terms of the staff and the dedication to each of these different disciplines. What would be your tip as far as, somebody who's a one-man shop to be able to try and offer a comprehensive program like you guys have, maybe with just one person kind of monitoring the content and that?
Yeah, we aren't, although we do have teams here, we're obviously much smaller, and so we can't put forth the same effort that we would normally. But so one thing that we've kind of been doing is, there's a lot of great material out there, and there's a lot of partners that in our local communities that we want to give to as well. So just, although we tried to make a lot of our own stuff, we didn't limit ourselves to that. And so if it was a great article shared or an activity shared from someone else in our community, we use that too. So we linked out and gave credit. So if you have access to a web page that you could update and just kind of send people there, or even if you use it within the app, we have a tile linked to the family resources page through our app, and through the virtual workouts page through our app. So we kind of use that there. But don't limit yourself to just what you can come up with. I'm not as creative as more than half the people that I work with, but we can find great stuff, and we can share that out and give credit where it's due.
Yep. Yeah, good tips there. Reusing and some of the content that's out there is definitely a good one. I was told that my screen wasn't sharing correctly, so I'm actually updating that again right now, so that this way we might be able to improve that. So bear with me here for just a second. And I'm going to go ahead and share that again just to see if maybe we might have fixed it. Did it show up correct on everyone else's side again, or are we still having some problems?
I can see it. I can see it fine.
Okay. Alrighty, perfect. So, yep. So here we go. As far as yeah, on your side of things, Sheldon, you know, when we're looking at your organization, I know we had a chance to jump into some of the details last time as far as what Universal Athletic Club's approach was to, you know, the classes, and you guys were using Zoom as well. But there was so much more that we just started to scratch the surface on, as far as some of the other things that the organization is doing to engage with the members in the community. Talk to us a little bit about, you know, some of the things that you've been seeing and promoting with your trainers, so that this way your trainers are still able to have that connection that they have with their clients, and make sure that you're going to have continuity and a high adaptation when they come back.
Yeah, good question. For us, just to kind of start higher level, when this happened, of course, we strategically phased into a close. We knew at some point we close our doors. We try to prepare in advance with this schedule that you have displaying now. And one thing that we try to do at Universal that I guess makes us a little unique is we try to go above and beyond to connect and engage. And so during this transition into stay at home, we challenged trainers to come up with we sort of brainstormed ideas to engage our client bases beyond even the workout. So we do coffee hour. We do candlelight meditation. We're actually doing that this Sunday night. So if anyone wants to jump into a candlelight meditation on Sunday night, feel free. And those are a couple of things that we're doing that's beyond, I guess similar to what Becky's saying, is beyond the realm of just exercising, working out, and sweating. The key for us is touch points. The more meaningful touch points we have with our member base is just showing that we care for them authentically. And so we try to really emphasize that, and we do that with our team. And of course, we have a select few of our coaches who are really good at that stuff. So we were able to get them to commit to this initiative, which isn't large, but it's just large enough for us to show that we care, and they do it really well. So that small team does that, and it's quite simple to execute it. It really is. We have a Zoom schedule, and we do a lot of communication by email to our network, and we simply share what's going on and have a chance for people to jump into these things, essentially. So. And we do Zoom. We use Zoom as our platform, and it's really simple to use. We've dealt with all the security stuff that's going on with Zoom, and we got a great handle on it now. And so people are in very safe, comfortable environments engaging with our staff.
Okay, and a question that came through as you were speaking as well was, how do you handle streaming music when offering digital or live services?
Yeah, that's a really good question. When it comes to to Zoom, first of all, Zoom, you can actually stream your computer audio through your preferences when you use Zoom, and it'll come out quite clear to the end user. You just need to make sure that you have some kind of a wireless or Bluetooth earbuds that also have has microphone built in, so that the audio can be heard by the coach through music and through their microphone, and then the music plays through the device. I'm not a technical expert to know all the details, but I do know that we have a couple of instructors who are doing that method, which seems to work okay. There is some microphone lag that happens with that, but it works well. Using Facebook Live, there is a better audio sound when you play music with that. YouTube can be a bit tougher because of a lot of music that needs to be protected through copyright. But through Zoom, there is a preference to play audio through Zoom. I apologize, I don't know the details like down to the letter of how you patch that, but you can patch it without having to use a mixer, is what we sorted. Oh, I will say one more thing about that. When it comes to the music, we actually chose to not emphasize a lot, some like music-based platforms for a lot of our live workouts. We use the music as more backdrop, and a lot of our workouts are, you know, high intensity interval training, body weight only. We do yoga. A lot of it's silent yoga practice and meditative, and we also do, you know, non-timing based cardiovascular stuff that's not requiring cadence and rhythm, but based on time patterns. So quite often a coach will have just a timer in the background that's really clear to hear from the end user. It's still a fantastic experience for the members.
And then another question that came through as well is, this one's anonymous. What security measures did you guys put in place for the Zoom?
Yeah, this is something that I think everyone should pay a lot of attention to. And I know Zoom has really tried to step up with their security or getting updates regularly from them. In the beginning, those security measures were not there. You know, we had to learn from that mistake. We put up Zoom workouts that were open. We wanted to overgive, basically, just give, because we were using it as a retention strategy to win our members back when our clubs reopened. And so we open up this Zoom schedule that with a link, click the button, join the workout. And we just didn't think through enough the security measures you need. We were, of course, Zoom bombed a couple times. So what we had to do is we went back and we simply had a couple of steps before you can join the workout. Step one was you had to go to the website and you click to get into the website. Step two, we have an ID and a password protection. Very simple. And we of course have directions saying, look, as long as you have a Zoom account, you simply put in the ID and the password and you can enter the live stream. And then on the back end, we now have the control not to allow anyone to share content anymore. It's an automated default setting. And we have it set on mute all as an automatic default setting. And that was more than enough at this point for us to not have that issue. And we still have great attendance and no Zoom bombing.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that's definitely not wanted. So that means camera automatically on default as well, turned off for people when they're joining. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And then I put in another slide into the discussion as well. This is something that was from one of the presentations that was put together in the German market. And so this was a study which was covering the psychology of how members, just people in general, have been going through processing the trauma associated with Corona. And so you can see here that they broke it into 5 phases. And so the first phase is incubation. Second phase is panic and act. The third phase is isolation and depression. Fourth is reconsideration and new start. And then the last one is recovery and new normal. And so I think now we are probably sitting more in isolation and that depression part as well. At least I can speak for myself. Getting cooped up, being at home, and getting a little depressed with that. So you can see here that the emotions that people feel during this time are anywhere between fear and hope. And so as far as the social needs that we need and the values that we have in this time, it's looking for that connection, perspective, empathy, and that companionship. You can see here some of the products that they believe are going to be important during this time. Telecommunication, we're definitely seeing that. Entertainment, games, do-it-yourself things, coaching and e-learning. I know me personally, I'm doing e-learning. But the reason why I wanted to put this slide up is, I think I look at this and I'm opportunistic, but I know that a lot of people are taking this differently, and each member has a different path that they're going on. And from what you guys are seeing within your organizations, this question's kind of directed openly. So if whoever wants to jump in on this one, how have you been helping your members who have maybe gone into some of these areas where, it's not, the hope side of it, but maybe the fear side, or do they not have basic necessities in place, for example, in order to get through this during lockdown? And what has that look like, and for your organization and connecting with those members?
Well, through our wellness calls, we're trying to, particularly the at-risk population of those who already are extra. So we're not limited to one day of the week to go out, like you had mentioned. You are. So we need to go to the grocery store, we can run. You kind of get some interaction there, even though, from a distance. But you have individuals who are truly at risk who aren't doing any of that, and so they're reliant on neighbors or family or the Y in some cases to step in. And so we've really been trying to over communicate, making those personal phone calls, over communicate through our social channels, trying to get them engaged and staying positive. So we've got a number of interactive pieces on our social pages. So like, what's been your quarantine win, and trying to remind people to look for the positive, because it can, once you get down too far into that tunnel, it can get really difficult to stay out. And so, but that's why we're trying to make sure that they're doing those physical activities to stay healthy with their spirit, mind, and body. So it's difficult because you can't see them every day, but trying to touch them as much as you can. Just like Sheldon mentioned, touch points. That's the most important thing we can be doing right now, in whatever avenue we can do it.
And so that starts with a staff member just calling up the member and seeing how they're doing on some of these things. Yep.
And do you have what you need? Do you have food every day? Do you have toilet paper? Has been scarce in this country. I don't know how it is everywhere else, but do you have what you need to get through the day? And so, and if they say no, it's us either trying to provide them with it, trying to figure out how to get it to them, or what other organizations are local to them that are providing those things that we can connect them with to make sure that they have all the resources that they need to get through this time.
Wow, that's really great. What's been the member response from that? Have you?
Some of them that are really cool is when it allows that conversation of us to share some of the other things that we're doing, and we've had quotes come in from members that are like, I just should have known that the Y was doing this. Like, they're loving it. They're feeling like we have a lot of good content coming in from, or responses that were coming in from it. It was so great to hear your voice, to talk to somebody. It is getting kind of lonely. I'm so thankful that you called me today. Or we're doing okay. We're hunkered in. We've got family that are dropping off supplies, and so it's just we've gotten a lot of positive. I don't know if we've gotten any negative responses that have come from us doing that.
What a great program. And how about from your side, Sheldon? Have you guys been kind of seeing these phases and how you've been serving them come up in similar or maybe different ways?
Yeah, we have. As I mentioned last week, Universal and this community in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, it is one of the largest, I believe, second largest retirement communities in the country, is where we live. So we have a big senior population, and at Universal Athletic Club, we have a very large senior population. And, of course, we do silver sneakers. And of course, they are considered an at-risk demographic. And so we really went out of our way for them to create, of course, the streaming experience, the Zoom, and, not to stereotype, obviously, but we knew that technology can be tough. So we went essentially all hands on deck to help our senior population get ready to stay active, because we just saw this coming. So all of our silver sneakers instructors and coaches, I actually never dealt with our silver sneakers population as much as I have over the last 4 weeks, being a hotline for them, a helpline for them. I typically spend, honestly, 2 or 3 hours a day on the phone with them in some capacity, helping them, getting them set up, getting feedback on their experience, and expressing, hope and like we're there for them. And the response has been tremendous. There are a couple who have cried on the phone with me because they just felt like, wow, you guys are really showing that you care about us and our well-being right now. And so I guess the message there is going above and beyond to show that you care really does stand out, because as you have on this slide, at some point, some level of recovery and new normal is gonna be where we are. And it's those folks who truly appreciate what we've done and will come back to us in full fold. And even if they don't, at least we can kind of go to bed at night knowing that we gave back in a very hard time, especially to a demographic that is might feel very afraid right now, and it expresses hope and care. So that's kind of what we do, at least for one of our demographics that we try to.
Very good. And then, with like I mentioned earlier, with other business owners who are here, I can speak for I'm sure everybody is looking for ways in order to engage with their community, make sure that their members are not just being felt as part of the community through fitness, but also in some of the ways that you both have been speaking about now. But maybe sometimes it's a bit challenging in order to think about, what are some of those other things that I could potentially do as well in order to make that connection with them. Is there anything that you would recommend for somebody who's maybe hasn't thought about going beyond fitness yet, as some areas that they could look into as far as some of the things that would be low-hanging fruit for them to connect with their community of members?
Well, if there's the simplest thing I can say to that is to probably try not to overthink this one, because you can. Really, it's about just creating personal connection with people, and it is probably just as simple as I'm sure many of us right now are doing these streaming live experiences. Honestly, I would bet by the end of the day, if we challenged everybody listening to open up a Tuesday, Thursday morning coffee hour, and just spread the link to all the people who's in your network, you just might see people popping in and coming in to just chat and talk. And I think it's probably doing something that's simple and manageable, that you can do, and don't overthink it, and just give it a go. And don't try to and don't take the approach it has to be perfect, and it has to be the absolute perfect niche approach to this. Just open up the doors in some way, shape, or form to engage your people, even if it's not perfect, and then let it evolve into something from there. Just get started is really what I would recommend.
Yeah, I would jump on with what Sheldon said. We've kind of been operating under a mantra of don't sacrifice good for great right now. When we launched the YouTube recorded classes and lives, like I said, we knew that the quality was not going to match anything what's being done by a professional organization. But we've gotten so many comments on the videos of thank you so much for doing this, or it was just great to see your face. I'm so happy it's just great to see your voice, or hear your voice, see your face. Those human connections that they're used to seeing every day. And the quality is grainy. You can't hear them super great. They didn't mic up. It was the very first day of recording, and so it wasn't awesome in the quality, but just the fact that our members still jumped on, and we still had, a lot of people watching and doing it with us, and then commenting after, just how appreciative they were that we were doing it. And so when you take that, wow, this is the level of video that we put out today, but people were so appreciative for it. People just want that touch, and they just want to know that what they were used to before is going to still be there. Like we're going to still come back to you. And I loved, Sheldon, I told Kaylin that I loved that you do the coffee groups. And so I took it back to my team here, and we're starting them at the end of the week. And we're working with finding those 1 to 3 key individuals who are the leaders of the group, because especially every group of seniors, they have that leader. And so getting in touch with them can you spread would you guys be interested in it? Let's set up a time that works for you. And then we've got some music groups where people will come into our branches just randomly. They start doing this and they play music. They get out their banjo and they'll sing in the lobby every Friday morning. And so we're taking that, and we're setting up that now as well, just working off that coffee club idea. And so we're really excited about doing that, because again, that's that at-risk population that's probably feeling lonely and very scared right now. And so it's it's a way to bring back a little bit of their normal to them.
Mhm.
Yeah. One question that came in here, I think this one is just for generally for both of you guys is, what are your strategies moving forward as mandates relax? And then it goes in example, outdoor training, allowing only a certain number of people inside the gym at once, or are we being more strict and only doing one-on-one training versus classes?
Yeah. Okay. So we have a multi-layer strategy of doing this. It would take me a while to go through it all, so I'll be as, I guess, high level as I can. What we do know is that we just want to make sure that the environment that our members are coming back to as the doors slowly open is very safe and clean, and that we disinfect and sanitary, and we kind of, that's our marketing strategy essentially, that we are going beyond expectation to ensure that the facility is clean. So that's just a basic thing, and I think everyone should and probably is saying something like that. Depending on the governor's mandates on how many people are allowed in space, we are still going to focus on group-based training. We are fortunate enough to have enough space to have pods. A lot of we focus on group personal training. We don't do a lot of one-on-one, and so our group personal training does work in pods and mega circuits. And so we completely changed our programming so that everyone trains 6 feet apart from each other. There's no more than 10 people per 5,000 square feet if we're allowed to do something like that. This is like our pre-plan, and that there is no moving in pods. Everything is done in a singular area for the entire workout experience. And we have pre-selected a couple of our training sessions that will live stream to our client base who don't feel ready or prepared to come into the facility to train yet. And so we've planned an early morning, mid-morning, and evening session that will live stream with the training team right there live in the early phase of our reopening.
So that's like a hybrid model then there, where a class but streaming it then.
That's right. It's a class but
very
stream.
Cool.
Yeah. And it is a reduced rate to do it. We are bringing the rate down for someone who's doing it like that. We also are using we're going to push an advertisement out to the world essentially, that because we know we're not like the Les Mills and Beachbody and Daily Burn and all this stuff that have these big robust workouts. And so we're focusing on the personal experience. So if anybody wants to join Universal as a sort of virtual member, they are going to be assigned a coach. That coach is going to integrate them over 30 days to integrate in the club live or virtually with our platform. So we kind of hold their hand through it. And then they could kind of choose to be a member of the club, subscribe, or have that coach to continue. All our group fitness schedule, of course, is being scaled down significantly and will be live streamed as well. And it will be by registration through our registration system. We use Jonas software for that, and we use Virtuagym for all of our training platforms. So it's going to be registration-based classes, and our private one-on-one training will also be trainer pre-registers for space in the facility. We have about 10 training areas, so the trainer will have a schedule that they can register the time and the location with no less than 10 people per 5,000 square feet to train in, pending government regulations. That is being prepared right now. So, because what we do know is that some people will be just ready to go right away when clubs reopen. Some are going to kind of do it hesitantly and do it intermittently. And some will just be not be ready to go. Could be a while from now until there's a vaccine or better, more clear FDA regulated medications that we know are available. And so we're kind of preparing for all 3 levels now, 3 months from now, and 6 months from now. That is a very basic approach to what we're taking. But no matter what, we are going to build out this online platform of engaging people much more than we did that we're building right now over the course of this pandemic.
Okay, and one of the questions that came through was, what reduced rates do you offer for the virtual members?
Okay, so what we're doing is we have, similar to what Virtuagym sort of recommended, we have like a basic and a pro access to, of course, the app. And inside the app lives not only the do-it-yourself workouts, but all of our live streams, and all the recordings of our live streams are added 24 hours after the live stream occurs, exists in the app. That you have a pro membership will give you access to that. Now we charge a subscription-based $5 every 2 weeks for access to that, every 2 weeks. But that is not our primary, I guess, like business model for driving revenue. It's through coaching. And so the coaching comes in 2 tiers. We do this is going to be subject to change, but it's about a $29 biweekly rate to access to a small group coach, where you're assigned to a team. That team will exist under one coach. We'll have a team, which is a cap that's yet to be determined, and we're likely to have it be about 30 to 40 clients under that biweekly rate, that they'll have access to that coach's specific live stream, whether it's done uniquely or it's going to be done in-house. And then there's, of course, our online private training, which is a much higher rate. I mean, that is about, it ranges between $199 to $299 every 2 weeks, bi-weekly rate to have a private coach work with you digitally, virtually. So it's a 4-tier access, essentially. So if you're someone who's part of our current small group training and you are getting the live stream, it's that 2nd tier down that is offered.
Wow. Okay.
It's a lot I threw at you there, but that's what we're doing.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot is going on there. And you mentioned, maybe I misinterpreted it, but I heard that there was these small group clients as well, that they'll fall into a certain package by default. Then is that, or did I misunderstand that?
Yeah. So yeah, to be clear, there's kind of 2 pockets of small group. So one is purely going to experience the virtual version of this. And that is actually what we emphasize. And that is where they can be anywhere in the world, as long as they have really no equipment or minimal equipment. We have a no equipment version of this and a towel version of this, literally a towel. It's access to a coach and a live stream twice a week, and their programming for this biweekly rate. The second version of that is someone who's considered an in-club client. You're actually a client. You're actually a full member of the health club, and you have access to small group training, but you're not yet ready to train live. We live stream it to you. For example, we do MBSE Thrive at our facility. And so if an MBSE Thrive workout, for example, is happening, we will live stream it to the at-home client for a reduced rate. To be quite honest with you, we haven't actually sorted out that rate yet because we're still in the planning phase. But that rate for now, we are thinking would be 15% less than what the live experience looks like. And there's a lot of experts who say, don't reduce the rate, just add value to it. But that does not work for us, because we are a believer in the live experience. Where we live, we charge about $25 to $30 per workout for small group training. And so we simply reduce that rate down to 15% if you experience it live as a current member of our health club. So that is a to be determined rate. So again, there's the member version and the non-member per virtual version.
Very cool.
I want to say one more thing though, Kellen, before, I don't want to keep us up, but we are focusing more on the group training aspect, because the subscription version for us, we're not sure if we're ready to make a robust business run on that, because there are too many powerful players in the world at this point doing these subscription-based programming, where you have access to really powerful, high production, high quality experiences. So we focus on the coach-driven experience for us, and a lot of community building when it comes to that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All righty, guys. So we are just about at the top of the hour, and so we're scheduled to end just about now. However, with with the way that we've just been running these in the past, we're going to stay online. And so we'll be here in order to answer some of the questions that have come through. David, I saw that you asked one as well about reopening guidelines. With the remainder of the discussion, we'll also go through and just unmute anybody who would like to join the conversation as well, ask some questions and participate. And so that's it for the program that we had for today, as far as what was part of the presentation side and some of the things that we had prepared. But you're more than welcome to stay. Like I said, we're going to be staying up for another 15-20 minutes, and then just answering any questions and opening up that mic. So yeah, with that kind of being said, David sent through a question, and it was about reopening guidelines from URSA, and if anybody has heard anything come through from URSA as far as what are some guidelines for reopening. I have a backup slide that's within the presentation, David, here for from my end. What I did is there's a site that is already up by the government, which explains the way that it will reopening will go in three phases nationally, and then this one here is an adaptation of how it was going within Oregon. So I think it's going to be modifications on a state-by-state basis. And so within what I've seen here, you can see that in order to be able to go through the phases, there's certain gates that you have to cross. So one of those gates is things like the number of contracted cases is going down over a certain amount of time, and I'll pass this resource along. I can put it in the chat. And then once you unlock all of those gates, then you're able to go ahead and start going through these phases. So I'll share this in here as well. But to be honest, I'm a bit hesitant in order to jump into the specifics on this, just because I know it's going to be different state by state. I'll share with you the federal one. Have you guys been hearing? What have you guys been hearing from your organization, Sheldon and Becky, as far as what reopening looks like?
I don't know if we've heard yet, and as I mentioned, we cross state lines. So we've got state of Illinois, the state of Missouri, we've got the St. Louis County and St. Louis City, all giving us different marching orders, basically. So a lot of that's going to depend for the branches that fall within those different areas of what they say we can do. We're starting to look at, do we limit the people in our buildings? Do we limit the people in our program areas? Do we limit the people in our pools? How do we handle summer camp? How do we handle, all those other areas? But for fitness, do we block off every other machine, or do we limit group fitness classes to under 10 people in the room? We have talked about doing what Sheldon had mentioned, of also live streaming the class when it's happening. That way people can still participate if they don't want to come into the building, and just so we don't lose those members there, and still provide them with another option. But a lot of the way we're going to be able to respond is going to be dictated to us by the local government officials that the branch is physically located in. So we don't really know everything yet.
Yeah, same. We haven't gotten any clear guidelines yet. Just we saw the federal, and it hasn't gone any further in Pennsylvania, at least. So we're kind of waiting to hear what Governor Wolf says. This is what the next phase is. In Pennsylvania, I know the governor, he was quite aggressive in the shutdown, and so I don't know what'll happen, but I expect locally it might be a very conservative reopening process. So yeah, we haven't heard anything specific here.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things that I saw that I saw on the at least on the one that I saw from Oregon was that the second slide within there was that we're not determining the when we're going to open, the virus is determining when we're going to open. And so
yeah,
that was the quote, and it's like, okay, we're so close.
Fair.
Yeah. And then a couple things that came up is as a question: do you think that the classic model of gyms, group plus fitness, will vanish?
I don't think so. No, I don't believe that. I think that I personally believe, this is I guess just my opinion on the matter for what that's worth, is that we'll all have to naturally pivot, and that we will. This has accelerated the idea of the streaming experience, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think if you were to jump into a time machine and go 5 years in the future, it's probably would have been doing this anyway. This just forced us into action. But you know, I personally believe that there'll be a vaccine. They'll create a vaccine for this, and medications will improve. And at some point, you know, of course, we'll have, you know, the idea of a gym and group fitness classes won't go away. What will happen though is there'll be a heightened sense of being sanitary and being able to disinfect your facility at a much higher level and a higher quality, and to be clear and transparent about that to your member base. That is something that's probably not going to go away for a very long time. And I think health club studios will probably put that more on the forefront of their brand than purely just the you know, health, success, wellness experience. It's also our ability to have it, like I said last week, that surgically clean place to be. And you know, we do the medallia here, of course, and the top impacted data point that we look at in terms of that impacts our retention is club cleanliness. You know, so I think that that's something all of us will now have to pay much more attention to. That I don't think the group experience will go away. I think that will just move to the forefront across the board.
Yeah. I the other thing, like from my end, that I saw really interesting is I was reviewing some of the notes from past URSAs and looking at the trends that were happening within the industry, and I was looking at 2018 in specific, and there was a big rise and push, and a lot of the topics that were being discussed were around video streaming, and so obviously we much different times then because it was business as usual, but I feel like those businesses were never looking to replace the gym and the studio model. It was about being able to add on those additional touch points so that this way you can supplement those across the touch points that you have in person with the members. And it's really interesting how now a lot of those companies that, you know, that were within that view were doing really, really well during this time when we contracted to a moment where all of your touch points now are happening either on the phone, chat, or in some other digital way.
Yeah. We actually found too that at least for our facility, when we started pushing the fitness on demand, that it helped a lot of new members who were pretty intimidated to go into a big class or to talk to a trainer, that when they did a virtual experience, they were like, you know, this is actually not that bad. And they felt a little less afraid to walk into that body pump class or to talk to that trainer, Michael, because they saw him, you know, through a less intimidating environment. So I think that's something to consider, at least to reduce the barrier of fear for new people to exercise by having a streaming experience. You mean your own safe environment, not worry about feeling judged, and then, you know, if that facility is close enough to where you are, perhaps it can warrant a live visit at some point in the future because you feel like you're now connected with them in some way, which is interesting.
Yeah. One of the questions that came through, Sheldon, I'm about to answer it right now, but I don't want to misspeak on this one. You use Zoom for your live streaming, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any other platforms that you guys are using for the video hosting?
We've
or
also
just
used
Zoom?
YouTube Live. Oh, sorry, Sheldon.
YouTube Live.
No, go ahead, Becky. Go ahead.
We've also used YouTube. We've kind of looked at it. Do we want the people to engage with each other, or do we just want to get this content out and so they can watch it? And so that's kind of been the decision maker in which platform do we use.
Did you guys find better success with one or the other?
Similar. No, not better. I think YouTube is a little bit easier for us to get into other people up to speed and running, because you're literally just opening up the channel and you're hitting record and you're going. So Zoom obviously takes a little bit more admin setup, and here's your link and here's where it goes and here's how you access it. So it's a little bit different there. We just have to think through different strategies on how we market it and share out the information. And YouTube, you don't have to, you can keep stuff private, so they can only access it with a link. But with Zoom, if we want to keep it kind of protected, as Sheldon was referring to earlier, then you have to have setup and login, things like that. So it's just different things to think through. I don't know if I would say one of them is overtly better than the other, depending on what your target is.
Yeah, I think we fell in love with Zoom personally, because like watching the members' faces when you see them on camera saying, you know, oh, hey Joe, I see you here, and they kind of light up, you know, and it's really cool because it's really novel for some of our members who are having to do this now, and it's like, oh, you know, they see me in my basement, wow, and they call my name out. That's kind of cool. And I think our coach team kind of loves that interaction. I think our fear was going to like a Facebook Live or something like that. We'd struggle having the connection. But what we are hoping to use the YouTube at least for is to build a library of weekly workouts to just post inside of the Virtuagym app, so that there's like a library of fun stuff to do. That I think it's easier to do on a YouTube channel than it is in Zoom. So that was something we're learning as well here.
Yeah, here in our organization, we're doing the same thing. So we're, for the live portion, we're using the Zoom, and then when we're uploading to a platform that we want to have it on, just so that this way it's a resource, we put it onto YouTube, and that's where we'll do the sharing.
Yeah.
Nice. And so let me just read this question to make sure I understand it before I read it. Okay, yep. So this one's about kind of the logistics of doing the streaming of the videos. You guys have a camera fixed in a group fitness studio. You set one up down the end of the room. Questions about how that process is going.
Go ahead, Becky.
Really sorry. So like I mentioned earlier, some of the videos aren't as high quality. The ones that look the best were filmed with an iPhone. And then we have some that were filmed through YouTube we had some issues at the beginning when we were just getting our channel set up. And so they filmed it through their computer. Some of them, when you film them with your phones, they're such large files that it's hard to get them off of your phone onto a computer in a reasonable amount of time. And so we kind of mixed it up. Moving forward, we plan to continue, even when we open fully, we plan to continue this type of content. And so at that point, we have a videographer that will come in, and we have one on staff. And so she'll just come in and we'll set up a day where we just do a bunch of like pre-recorded videos, and then we'll probably make it just like a random like 2 to 3 days a week where we actually host like a live at that point. But so we've done cameras on phones, computers, and then hopefully we'll do it with a very nice camera that the quality is pristine.
Yeah, like all of our stuff has been like the coach at their home or outside. We have not gone into the facility to record this stuff, because, you know, we're trying to follow the rules, and so we've kind of been all over the place a bit in terms of where is the best place to kind of put it. But I personally made sort of this parameter on how this live stream experience is supposed to look. I just didn't leave it up to the coaches. Go out and figure it out. There's a whole laundry list, like camera angle has to be front facing. If you're in your basement, try to angle it so they don't see the floor joists. I personally did mention, see if you can avoid having the dogs and the kids running around. Personally, that was my personal thing, but it happens in the video, and actually people respond because they think it's funny, and it's real, it's human, which is cool. So I was like, I should delete that. Long story short, I had a list of things and items for at least have some kind of quality, because it's still representing Universal. Tough one to recommend sound and audio, but essentially I asked the trainers, we pay for Fit Radio, to use Fit Radio to put the sound in the background, not in front of you, close to the audio source, because it will compete with your voice.
Yep. Yeah.
And that was one of the couple of things that at least I put together. And I also had a bit of stuff I put down for just the content, like what you say, how much moving do you do versus just cueing only do you do, because a lot of people are only able to follow things by seeing it. They don't, sometimes they struggle hearing it. I think last week I mentioned a yoga instructor who practiced Baptiste and was like, this is what I do. I say the words and they do. I don't walk around. I don't do the movement. So we somehow she was able to sort out her voice cues, and somebody else, another yoga instructor, models it from their home. So the home user hears her voice, but sees the other person doing the entire class, so they can follow it visually and hear auditory. It was brilliant. So that was our experience.
Okay. Yeah, no issues with the lag then on that, huh?
Not really. She is great. I mean, if I'll probably I can send you a file, but she's able to sit at home and just cross her legs and just talk in a nice, calm, serene looking environment, but they only see the model doing the actual workout. And I'm sure it's an easy setting I don't remember, and maybe someone on the call probably does, but it's very cool, because you feel like you're watching you have a good visual of what to do, basically. Now, no issue with lag. There's no music involved. It's just voice.
Yeah. Alrighty, let me go ahead and just do a quick little scan through the questions and see if we might have missed something. This one actually, I'm not understanding. Maybe you guys can help me with this. Melanie asked, I don't understand why 10 people for 5,000 square feet. Was that from your reopening plans, Sheldon?
Yeah, well, you know what we did? Like, we are making an assumption, because that assumption was how we ended up, was where we were at when we closed our doors. When we closed our doors, the week prior to that, we were trying to just be proactive, and our personal strategy was to have no more than 10 people in any room that was 5,000 square feet. It wasn't a specific square footage that was given by the PA governor. It was just what we did to share to our members that we're practicing safety and social distancing. We are pretty fortunate to have a pretty large facility. Our one facility is over 100,000 square feet, and it's double. There's two levels to it. And there are probably 8 or 9 different training areas that are 3,000 square feet and larger. And so we had enough spaces to have that kind of a general rule, and to get enough people working out and training, basically. So that could change for us. Once we hear a recommendation from the governor, what we're allowed to do, we may allow more, or we may allow less. But that is the general assumption we're making for now, just so we have a plan. And literally marking the floor. I should add that. We have we're putting an X 6 feet apart in our group studios, literally. So people come in, they have to stand in their space.
Wow. Yeah, I saw that a couple grocery stores here have a similar setup for the lines.
Yeah.
But we need to do it. All right. Great. I think we made it through all of the questions at this point then. We want to just say thanks again, guys, for taking the time in order to join us today and share your experience. Super helpful for us to hear these things and to share it with everyone.
Oh, yeah. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. This is fun. We love chatting.
All righty, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and close this off now. Thank you everybody for joining. I hope you guys had the chance in order to learn something, and you can implement it within your business as well, or your organization. And then we'll catch you next week. Take care.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye, guys.